Never has victory tasted better. Oh, the SEC rejects the appeal in a historic crypto case and Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple announces triumph. Let's get it. In the summer of 23, we prevailed on the main points of the lawsuit. Judge Torres decided that XRP was not a security in and of itself. That quote is nearly exact. Approximately 8 months ago, the SEC filed an appeal. A cross appeal is still pending. Thus, we actually become plaintiffs instead of defendants. We are now in control of deciding how we wish to move forward. Is it being tapped? We shall see. Being on the attack rather than the defense feels much better. We invested more than $150 million over 4 years to fight that case, not just for Ripple, but for the entire sector. The fact that this SEC, the Gensler SEC, was actively attempting to intimidate and carry out lawfare by bringing lawsuit after lawsuit against cryptocurrency companies, in my opinion, was crucial. Now that's over it. And to be honest, I believe that's fantastic for the U.S. cryptocurrency market as well as for the industry as a whole. In light of this, why not end the lawsuit now if you're considering a new SEC? Why don't you clear the water or the pay? That's definitely a possibility. Again, the SEC has stated unequivocally that they, in hindsight, would not have filed this lawsuit. In 2015 and 2016, the SEC and the judge decided that certain XRP sales we made to approved individuals and institutions had qualified as securities. As a result, a $125 million fine is currently in escrow. That would be nice to have back? That is a possibility, although I believe there may be some intricacies in how this plays out. It was crucial for us and the entire XRP community to understand that the case is, in all practicality, done. This is no longer being pursued by the SEC. To that purpose, however, come on. Man, please share your excitement with me in the comments section. Hit like and share your feelings for the day. How does this feel? More than 4 years. For more than 4 years, you have consistently come up, educated yourself, and supported Brad Ripple and the ecosystem as a whole. The triumph is not solely for Chris, Brad, or Ripple. It is also for you and me, because we spent years fighting for justice with these people. We also received some justice today. In contrast, you can ask yourself, wait, why are we here? And there is a situation in which no investors were harmed or lost any money, and it ultimately comes down to Gary Gensler's battle over power and the bureaucracy's overreach in an attempt to seize a new industry. In Washington, we're witnessing the emergence of intelligent legislation. This is happening in real time with steady currency. According to the description, the market structure law will give the SEC and CFTC clarity and regulations. We'll examine the wider picture. You will be with us for a little time this morning, however. Do you believe that part of this entails battling it through to the end to ensure that even the uncertainty around being offered to certain investors qualifies as a security? Is that, after all, what you are fighting for now? The only thing we're fighting for right now is whether or not we want to battle to recoup the $125 million. Before they appealed, before President Trump appointed Paul Atkins, Scott Besson, and David Sachs as crucial, highly intelligent executives in this sector to bring it back to shore, I'll be honest, would I have turned my back on that? I would have turned to leave. You look at it now as though this SEC case never would have been filed. Thus, we have a wonderful situation. Saying that XRP is not a security that was beneficial to the industry is a blatantly unlawful win. However, we believe that some of it could be cleaned up. The issue is whether we want to continue the battle or whether we can reach a consensus with the SEC to end it all. You know, we've had the Trump government for 4 years now. We must finish all of this in those 4 years. For stablecoins, regulation is required. Regulation of cryptocurrency is necessary. Digital assets must be incorporated into banks' infrastructure. Banks must begin providing institutional and regular clients with custody of cryptocurrency holdings. Correct. We must see this through to the end. This is a common occurrence because, trust me, we already know what the Democrats are attempting to accomplish with cryptocurrency if they regain power. Everything related to cryptocurrency is evil. Instead of bringing it in and integrating it into daily life, they want to kick it back offshore and let crazy crap just take over. We must firmly establish this moment and ensure that we do not revert to the situation we were in 3 or 4 years ago, when everything seemed like a mountain we had to scale. And believe me when I say that we do not wish to return to that state. So let's continue. Notion that this wouldn't have been brought under this SEC. Have you and David Sachs and Paul Atkins had that particular conversation? Paul Atkins hasn't been verified yet, though. He is a well-informed individual in this field. The vote to admit Paul Atkins to the SEC should take place on March 27 and for a very long time. However, I've had discussions, I won't get into details, and I believe David Sachs would concur that this is a case that first didn't make much sense. Once more, there is no danger to investors. In this case, Gary Gensler was fighting this industry. It's intriguing. I should also mention that during the past day, the associated coin, XRP, has increased by nearly 14% and is currently up about 13%. We're considering how the government is managing it, which is one item that many people have looked at. Cryptocurrency, especially those not related to Bitcoin. Why, in your opinion, was XRP left out of the executive order pertaining to the digital assets stockpile? According to Truth Social, the president named it, he wrote that there should be a crypto stockpile that would comprise XRP and other tokens that would serve as a strategic reserve for Bitcoin. Later, it was removed from the executive order. What caused that? What is in the executive order is unknown to me. According to what I hear, a strategic reserve for Bitcoin will be established. Other cryptos will be represented by a crypto stockpile. And I anticipate that XRP will be a part of that. Ultimately, I believe the biggest difference is that under the Biden administration, we were unable to meet with White House officials. The White House is now open to us. And it is a significant shift. In my opinion, we want this industry to prosper in the U.S. We don't want to move it to a country with less restrictions. I believe this is the reason I constantly urging you to get in touch with the U.S. stockpile as soon as possible. Naturally, Trump was meeting with Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart Alderati, and other prominent figures in the cryptocurrency industry during this time. Charles Hodgkinson, I believe. And I believe Trump saw that these are wonderful men, incredibly smart, wealthy, and cognizant of the significance of technology, much like myself. Trump, in my opinion, intended to include those assets. Is it not clear to XRP, Solana, and ADA that none of the assets they have forfeited are in fact in the United States? The U.S. has amassed a significant amount of Bitcoin when someone in the U.S. is engaging in illegal activity. For example, if I were to sell you XYZ unlawful products, and you agreed to pay me Bitcoin or USDT, that is how the U.S. gained so much of it. Along with a few other things, it was the Silk Road. However, XRP isn't actually used for illegal purposes. Therefore, there are only two ways that the U.S. will be able to obtain a significant amount of XRP. The first is that the U.S. government is receiving it as a gift from Ripple's escrow, correct? Because, keep in mind, Ripple has the authority to determine the price at which they will sell this XRP. I'm confident they could give it away for free if they can reduce the cost. Additionally, if Congress steps in and decides to contribute $50 billion or $100 billion in value, it will increase the amount of cryptocurrency assets in the stockpile. That may occur in either of those two ways. I can only think of those two ways. Please let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas about how this could occur. Many thanks, everyone. The mystery of the facts is what's creating an overhang, in my opinion, even though it's now generally acknowledged that this government is pro-crypto. To the degree that you are confident that XRP will be in that stockpile or receive additional support for an ETF in any other way, for instance, where does that confidence originate from, and what timescale do you envision it taking place on? I am therefore very confident in the ETF. From Bitwise to Franklin Templeton and a host of others in between, I believe there are 11 separate filings pending with the SEC to start ETFs.